Tonight's theme is about drinking. And of course, there's all kinds of drinking and drinking stories. They're some of the most famous in the world. Uh, One of my most favorite stories is the story about uh, this the Englishman that goes hiking in the beautiful, beautiful scenery of Scotland. And as he bends down to take a drink from the nice cold stream at his feet, a Scotsman nearby tending his flock calls out to him, Dinna drink the water, that it's full of cow piss and shite. And the Englishman is appalled by the Scottishman's accent, and he responds to him by saying, I'm so sorry. I can't understand a word you're saying. Can you please speak in proper English? At which point the Scotsman says to him, Go ahead, drink all ye want. Cup your hands together to get the most of it. That's just drinking water. But I suppose most drinking stories are about drinking alcohol, the demon rum. Uh, in my family, we are all of Irish descent. And I used to joke that you get a baptismal sponsor and an AA sponsor the same week that you're born. So, uh, and when my brother had a terrible problem with drinking. His wife threatened him with every possible punishment and scourge that would come as a result of his drinking. But like all drinkers, devoted drinkers, he didn't pay that much attention. If you've ever had the opportunity to go to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, one of the things that they often tell is the story of how they bottomed out, that something happened that really brought them to rock bottom and completely changed their their perspective on drinking, and they were able to overcome it and start on the path to sobriety. For my brother Brian, I don't think he would mind if I told his story a little bit, uh, because he's told it many times to many people. Uh, Bottoming out stories can be truly awful. You know, people that fall asleep on a railroad track and wake up with a train rolling over them. Horrible, awful stories. My brother's story was not quite that bad, but in a general way, it was awful. You see, my brother and his wife Heidi, they had a cat, and Heidi had been doing some reading in ladies' magazines when she was at the doctor's office. There's always so many nice ladies' magazines there. And one of them said that if you got a cat and you had it young enough, you could train it on how to use the toilet and spare yourself the trouble of buying expensive kitty litter and cleaning out the litter box on a daily basis, a chore nobody likes to do. And so she went home and followed the instructions, and they were able to purchase a pan that fit snugly underneath the seat of the toilet. They decided to put it in the toilet that was downstairs next to the laundry room. That way, there was no danger that it would trouble company or anyone else coming by. So they put it down there. And all the other doors were closed, and that was the only thing that was open at night when the cat was in the house. And so, sure enough, she began to jump up on the rim of that toilet seat and to do her business. And she hadn't gotten to the point yet that my sister-in-law was looking forward to, where you teach the cat how to push the lever to flush the toilet after they've used it. But she was doing pretty good. Pretty good. Meantime, back at the ranch, my brother Brian was off on one of his drinking binges with his buddies after work because they were celebrating someone's promotion. And he did not want to let Heidi know how much he had been drinking or that he was drinking it at all. So when he got home fairly late and was very quiet. And he realized that, oh my goodness, he needed to use the bathroom. And he didn't want to use the bathroom in their bedroom because she would know that he would wake her up and it was late. She'd know he'd come in so late. So he got the genius idea, okay, I'll just run downstairs and use that bathroom that's right next to the laundry room. And they say that that was the night that when my brother plopped himself in all of his best parts into the kitty litter, all full of the cat's business, that was when he bottomed out and turned around and was able to achieve sobriety in his life. And and go no more with the demon, with the demon rum. He tells that story because not every bottom out story is the worst thing in the whole world. But just to polish off drinking water, landing in the bottom up, and the traditional drinking story. There once was a man in Ireland named Lord Artivargan. He only had but one son, and his wife had passed. He treasured that son, but he indulged him in everything, gave him all the money that there was to be had, and his father had a good fortune. And he gave his son Sean all the money he needed to get himself into trouble on a regular basis. You go to town with that much money on a regular basis, and people are going to be paying attention to you and offering you things you shouldn't have. And it wasn't too long before he had his way with too many ladies, and he had his way again with the demon rum. His father, Lord Artivargan, worried and worried what would become of him, especially as he was an older gentleman, and as he got closer to his time of transitioning into the arms of heaven. He begged his son, please, please stop the drinking. Please stop running around and losing all of his money, spending it on drink and on gambling and on poor choices. But Sean didn't pay any attention to him at all, because once you're into drinking, you're in that other world. You are in the arms of demon rum, that's for sure. So the Lord Artivargan, he left his son a sizable inheritance. And to no one's surprise, it did not take that long before he drank and caroused his way through all of it. Now, before Lord Artivargan passed, he met with his son, and he said, should the day come when you go through everything, he said, Father, it won't happen. It's not going to happen. That's in your imaginations. He said, son, I can see the path you're on. And he said, should the day come when you end up at the end, he said, there's a little cottage in the corner of our property. He said, you can go there, and there's a quiet place there where you'll see if a man needs to end things, that's the way to do it, is to go to that little cottage. Father, it'll never happen. It'll never happen. Then Lord Artivargan passed, and as everyone suspected, Sean went through every nickel, dime, and penny that was in that inheritance. And he thought to himself, oh my God, I am at that place. And so he went indeed to that little building that was at the far corner of the lands that had mostly been sold off because of his debts. And when he went in there, he realized that in this stone room, there was nothing but a stone fireplace with nothing in it, no wood, no fire, and then a chair in the middle of the room. And to his dismay, when he looked above the chair, he saw the hangman's noose coming from the beam on the ceiling, hanging right down towards the top of that chair. And he thought, oh, Father, 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 how did you know I would come to this? And here I am with no other alternative except to face bad creditors and all the troubles that I've made for myself. I will take this as your last advice. So he stepped up on the chair and he put the noose around his neck and slid it down till it was tight. Then he said a prayer and wished for his father to please forgive him all of his foolishness, and kicked away the chair. As he fell heavy against the rope pulled against the beam, and at that moment, the beam broke away. And behind the beam was doubloons and gold of every kind that all fell to the floor with him as he landed on the floor. And he realized that his father had given him what we all hope we get in this life, which is a second chance for a drinker. And thank you.